WTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Because of the coronavirus pandemic. Coming up, find out who that group is and how members hope that the closure is only temporary. And the Democratic National Convention set to kick off this week in Milwaukee. Coming up, Joe St. John, our own national political reporter, explains how the pandemic-inspired virtual convention will be very different than party gatherings in the past. We are just coming up on 6:30 back here on Montana This Morning. Caitlin Corbett and Chet Lehman, you're out there on the patio. Pretty warm already.
It's lovely. 62 degrees right here in tropical Four Corners. It's talking near record high temperatures today. We could see some records fall around southwest Montana. So maybe virtual gardening today. You might want to just do it from the comfort of the air conditioning or that big fan in your living room because
I think so.
Scorcher. Take a look at the current conditions. As Caitlin mentioned, it is lovely outside right now. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, low 60s in some places. West Yellowstone at 37 degrees right now. As far as your planner goes, you can see not a lot of cloud cover, and that's going to be the case. Just a little bit of clouds, nothing really of moisture out of any of those clouds. Mid to upper 90s today for the Bozeman area with just a light breeze for Butte, warming into those low 90s. Again, both of those could be record high temperatures. We'll continue to monitor that and take a look at your work week in about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Chet. Saturday, there were 3 separate Gallatin County search and rescue missions. They took place in Big Sky and just outside of Bozeman and Bear Canyon. One rescue mission continued into Sunday. Search and rescue members tell us that the first mission began Saturday near Mystic Lake in the New World Gulch, where team members rescued a lost out-of-state hiker with non-life-threatening injuries. The second rescue took searchers to Big Sky with a hiker who suffered minor injuries. Then the same crews took another call in the New World Gulch area. That one required helicopters and crews to traverse deep trails. So far, there's no report on the extent of injuries for that rescue. And a theater group that has called Bozeman its home for more than 2 decades says it'll be closing the curtains at least temporarily due to COVID-19. The Verge Theater director tells us the group will use the time away from the stage to regroup, putting itself in a better position to recruit moving forward. The Verge has called the theater on North 7th their home for 22 years. However, the Verge will continue teen theater in the fall alongside Intro to Improv for adults while continuing its work with the Gallatin County Detention Center. The board of directors says it will use next month to plan out the theater's next steps. And you might have noticed construction crews opened a portion of Rouse Avenue from Main Street to Mendenhall in Bozeman. Rouse Avenue has been under major construction from Main Street to Oak since around the end of last year. The city of Bozeman says there's now limited access to Rouse from Mendenhall and to Lammy Street. The new open portion has new features including turn lanes and a bike lane. Construction continues in that area, so drivers are urged to use caution and follow detours. 6:32 now in the political sphere. Tonight is the start of the Democratic National Convention. It's an event that traditionally is one of the biggest gatherings of Democrats every 4 years. With the pandemic, it will obviously be different, so what can you expect? Here's our Joe St. George.
If these were normal times on this Monday morning, we would be greeting you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, perhaps showing you a majestic drone shot of all that Wisconsin has to offer. But these are not normal times, and tonight's Democratic convention will look very different from the one 4 years ago. For one thing, there won't be crowded arenas like the ones that greeted Hillary Clinton.
How are you going to be watching the Democratic convention?
I'm watching on Amazon Fire TV.
Democrats know there's a chance this could mean fewer Americans tune in and watch. It's why they produced this advertisement. Convention planners tell me they've also hired additional production crews to make this convention pop, and we've already seen some signs of that in recent press events with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in recent days. But in previous years, watching these conventions at home was really all about the speeches, and there will be plenty of speeches beginning this evening. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is tonight's keynote speaker. Senator Bernie Sanders will speak, along with Ohio's former Governor John Kasich and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Not to be outdone, President Trump is also speaking today in swing states. He'll be speaking in Minnesota and Wisconsin this afternoon. In Washington and not Wisconsin, I'm Joe St. George.
6:34 now. In late July, we told you how one Teton County man survived an encounter with a grizzly bear. But as Tom Wiley explains, his fight to keep his family safe was far from over.
It's been 3 weeks since Shannon Rammel was attacked by a bear just outside of this barn near his property, and his physical wounds are starting to heal.
It's going pretty good this hand. I'm starting to feel my fingers in there and moving.
But the emotional wounds are still fresh for Rammel and his family.
It's just a lot of fear. My daughter, she's scared to death. She won't come out of the house. It's just hard on all of us. And
the grizzly bear that attacked Shannon has still not been located after weeks of searching.
For 12 days, we did ground searches. We did 3 aerial searches. We did a fixed wing, we did a helicopter, and we did another helicopter. We also put up a drone.
Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks believe the bear left the area following the attack and has not returned.
But with the equipment and manpower we put out there, if we didn't find it, it left the area.
But Rammel is not so sure.
And we've got tracks of the grizzly right next to the ponds, and my neighbors have got pictures.
One of his neighbors snapped this photo last week, and when Rammel took us to a nearby watering hole to show us fresh tracks, members of the nearby New Rockport colony stopped to show us a picture they'd taken just days earlier. FWP claims the bear photographed is likely a research bear.
We found bears 5, 6, 7 miles away. One was a collared bear, so we knew it wasn't that one.
But Rammel claims none of the witnesses ever saw a collar.
My neighbors and everybody else's, like I said, them other people seen the bear too, and it doesn't have a collar on it.
Then just last week, Rammel's 11-year-old daughter claims she encountered the bear again on their property.
I was gonna go under the crane and grab my mom's baby goats when I heard his growl.
Growl, what did it sound like?
It sounded the growl when Dad got attacked by the grizzly bear.
When the family investigated, they found the door ripped off of their chicken coop and what appeared to be scratch marks. But when FWP arrived, they said there was no evidence of a bear.
Now, Fish and Game can say this bear is not here. He's here. This is his whole territory.
A bear that has an encounter with a human like this, grizzly bears, 99% of the time, they take off and they're looking for a place to go, and they're not sticking around.
Last week, several live traps were removed, and FWP installed an electric fence around the Rammel's property, but that hasn't made the family feel much safer.
I've had fence with cows, and they used to get out all the time, so I really don't have faith in their fence out here. I mean, I have a 3-year-old. They say it shocks really hard.
Ultimately, the Rammel family wants closure, and they're not sure they'll get it until the bear that attacked Shannon is captured and killed.
I was really disappointed that our nightmares never ended, and they're ongoing. Ever since this attack, I've been promised that this bear was going to get killed, because it attacked a human being, and that's been not the case at all.
Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Rammel runs a firewood business that sells to vendors around the state, and he hasn't been able to work while recovering from his injuries. Friends have set up a GoFundMe account to ease the financial burden.
It's an interesting story.
Yeah.
They claim the bear's still there. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks says it's moved on. They've seen some sign of bear, but not the collared bear, so.
And either way, you're just terrified, I'm sure, after that. I can't even imagine.
That's an experience that I don't think anybody should ever have to go through, so.
Well,
yeah.
Something I guess we'll keep following along with. 6:37 now, we're going to take another break. Members of Congress may soon be headed back to work in Washington, D.C. Coming up, learn what's on the agenda as lawmakers address a COVID economic recovery plan. First, though, here's what's happening at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Democrats gear up for a convention like no other. Senator Cory Booker will join us with a preview and what Democrats must do to avoid the mistakes of 2016. Also, we're dedicating the last hour of our broadcast to School Matters. See how communities across the country are planning to start the school year and deal with the challenges of remote learning. Plus, hear from health experts on what is safe in the COVID age. And country music legend and longtime education advocate Dolly Parton talks with us about helping young children read through her imagination library. All that coming up when we see you at 7.